I think what you're saying is absolutely correct. Mohun Bagan, ATK Mohun Bagan were clearly a better team. They had more difference makers, and Bengaluru FC kind of lacked that creativity in midfield. There's nobody to create for them. And on the other hand, ATK Mohun Bagan were just ruthless with those 2 goals. So they were just a better side going in the match. It didn't look like they were playing after such a long break. They had a comparatively shorter preseason compared to BFC, but it didn't look like that. And even Hugo Boumous, he just was very comfortable in the new team. So it's a great result for them.
So this was probably, I just realized that this was probably the official start of the season per se. We say iske baad India plays a few matches in the SAF championships, then the ISL starts. So this is quite a good time to get ready for the roller coaster ride that is going to be this season. So Anirudh, let me bring you in. So Bengaluru started well. We all saw that, but just after the 10th or 15th minute mark, once Mohun Bagan started dominating the possession and all the other metrics, there was no looking back for them, right?
Yeah, it was a decent start for Bengaluru. I still remember by the end of the first half, it was still Bengaluru FC with more possession, if I'm not wrong. Bengaluru FC had more possession by the end of the first half. And in the first 15 or 18 minutes, Bengaluru probably looked the better side. It took some time for, the new arrivals, let's just say, for the new arrivals to settle in. But then when it started, the 5-yard, 7-yard passes, it started swinging in. It was all ATK MB. Once Boumous started stringing those passes, it was just him, the midfield. And to be honest, in the entirety of the 90 minutes, the entire forward line of BFC was missing. I still remember, if I have to look back in the entirety of the match, there was just one chance where Jayesh took that 25-yard attempt, which was just whizzed past the post. And I don't think they didn't create even a proper chance, which we'd say that, Amrinder wasn't tested. Let's just say that.
Yeah, even that was in the 10th or 12th minute, I think.
Uske
baad se the only attempt I remember, something of note, was Clayton Silva took a shot which went straight at Amrinder, I think. And
it was just a cross. It was a cross, and Alan Costa should have probably. I mean, the commentator. I remember the commentator said if it were 2 or 3 inches, if the flight wasn't as high as it was, probably Alan Costa would have converted that. Yeah, and I don't think uske alawa
I think there's
offered anything.
Yeah, there's once in the second half when in around the 80th minute mark when Naurem combined with Suresh and he set up Clayton to take the shot outside the box and he directly hit it at Amrinder Singh to save. Apart from that, they never looked threatening as such. And I think what Anirudh is saying is also correct in a way that apart from these 2 or 3 open chances, I don't think there was some creativity for them to put the ball in the box or create those through balls, for their forward line. They had no supply in entirety of 90 minutes. And I think the blame has.
Yeah.
And Subashi's he just evolved after his goal, right?
Yeah.
We just saw a different version of him after he scored that second goal.
What a finish that was! It was for a second I thought it was forward finish.
I thought it was Roy Krishna.
Same, exactly.
Even the commentator said so.
The commentator also said Roy Krishna is doing what Roy Krishna does, and then I was like, no, that's Subhash's boss. But one touch created that room, top corner directly. Gurpreet had no chance. And that goal kind of buried BFC. I think they were in that zone to, we have to make a comeback. And when you concede in the first minute of the second half, I think the tempo just went down for them. They knew that it was now an impossible task for them to, come back from 2 goals down.
Yeah. And it is obviously it takes a little psychological hit because you've just had your team talk, 2 or 3 minutes back. And I'm pretty sure they must have had those talks where everyone would have been pumping each other up to go at at the ATK defense, and inside 40 seconds they just conceded that second goal. So obviously it would have been a psychological hit to the entire squad. And after that second goal, I think it was just done and dusted. It was all ATK.
Yeah, so we all mentioned Boumous here. So the major talking point before the match started especially amongst the Mohun Bagan fans was कि Boumous has come, अब तो हमारा time है. Which you can see taking shape, can't you? Like, this guy is a real baller. Like what he did with Mumbai City last season, FC Goa the season before that. I think they have got a gem on their hands. And like I was saying to Anirudh a little before this, if they don't win the league this season, the ISL, I think there's
That's a
something
fail.
wrong. I mean, they have
Yeah.
to win the league this season with Boumous.
I think it was very evident that he is the most expensive player in the Indian Super League. Is for transfer wise. Like at the first 10 minutes he was finding his rhythm, and once he got his rhythm, I remember like once he had this ball around the midfield line, and then he just dribbled past the BFC defense like he was playing with some junior players or something like that. He just went on to the left and took that shot, which is saved by Gurpreet. It's very easy for him. Like his vision and his off the ball and with the ball movement is, I think, top class. And ATK Mohun Bagan have like a dynamite in their squad right now. As you said, Shayan, like anything apart from the league would be a failure. And I expect them to go really further in the AFC Cup also with this squad that they have. So it was great to see.
If you have a creative midfielder like him, and if you have a proper poacher like Roy Krishna, obviously you expect them to win the league. And as Siddharth mentioned, I also expect them to go a little further in the AFC Cup. I mean, it's a match made in heaven, right? एक striker को क्या ही चाहिए? As a striker, all you need is that creative number 10 behind you who's just feeding you. And Roy Krishna, more often than not, he finishes, he buries them, right? We all know that.
Yeah, in fact, that it was only the first game, and Hugo Boumous and Roy Krishna were combining so well. Leave aside the long balls or the crosses that they were putting in, but even in the middle of the park, the short passes, the exchange of passes, and setting each other free, it didn't look like they're playing for the first time in an official match. So I think like the other ISL team should just look out. They'll be like, "Whoa, man, what did we just see?"
So while you guys are mentioning about the AFC Cup and how Mohun Bagan can go a long way in that tournament, we have to mention this that Bengaluru FC were runners up around 3 years back, if I'm not wrong. So they have pedigree in this tournament. But the thing is, there's no return fixture in this season's competition in the group stages. So it's just 3 games, and there are 2 games left now. I think both Mazia and Vasundhara Kings are beatable sides. They have already beaten them, I think, once. But even then, I feel it will be difficult for them to get back from this defeat, especially the performance from the attackers. Like Anirudh mentioned, apart from Clayton Silva, nobody really looked like scoring. I mean, I didn't see Sunil Chhetri even. I'm the biggest Sunil Chhetri fan, but I have to admit he wasn't really visible for the entirety of the duration of his stay today.
Yes.
I mean, India maybe there is so much dependency on Sunil Chhetri. Let's just एक second, let's not talk about Sunil Chhetri. Let's talk about Udanta. I mean, I still remember we did this live I think, 1.5, 2 months ago, and we spoke about the same thing. What has happened to Udanta? वो क्या कर रहा है यार? मतलब it's just, and he was supposed to be the one who was, take the entire Indian football ecosystem by storm. And, there were a lot of people who considered him to be, the flag bearer for Indian football after Sunil Chhetri. But it has, कुछ हुआ ही नहीं है. It's just sad.
Like, the fact that in the 2018-19 season, he had 5 goals and 5 assists in the same season, like 10 goal involvements in 18 games for a youngster was huge. And all of us thought he'll be stepping into Chetri's shoes, probably if like at BFC and then at India. Like the hype around him and the performances that he had in the first 2 years was unreal. And now I think he just looks out of place. Like I think he's lost a lot of confidence, and He's not combining with his teammates. Even most of them are new. I don't know what has happened, but and I think Marco Pezzaoli was very right when he substituted him in the second half and he got on Vidyasagar Singh, because I didn't see BFC create from the right flank at all. When Vidyasagar came in and Ajit Kumar came in, the ball, and then Danish Farooq came in, the ball started moving to the right side of the flank, for the pitch, for them to, at least get involved and then start attacking. Before that, it was only mostly through the left and then again through Clayton. But I think Udanta probably, I don't know what has happened. We hope something, the spark comes back in some way or the other. It is sad to see him perform like this.
And
I think another thing. Yeah, go on.
Go ahead, Chen. Go ahead.
No, I was thinking, I think another thing that was highlighted in tonight's performance was how much Bengaluru FC tends to miss Ashik when he's not playing. Like we saw the entirety, almost more than half of last season, he was out injured. And we all know what happened to Bengaluru's title aspirations, if I may say so. They finished 6th or 7th in the table and never really looked like they got going. And today also, it looked like from the left side, it was just not happening for them. Like Ashik provides width, he has the pace, he has a great left foot. He can put in the crosses very well for Sunil and Clayton and all those people. And what else he does well is he has that steel about him, which I felt Bengaluru lacked today a lot. So I feel that is probably a good thing that Bengaluru, being a huge team that they are, were missing an Indian guy so much that they looked lackluster in the offensive third. But I think they need to figure that out. I mean, I've heard the commentators mention that the ISL teams are kind of figuring out now how difficult it is to provide bench strength because of the economical climate post-COVID and all of that. But I genuinely feel even after 5 or 6 signings, I think they've made already, I think they still need to go into the market and get players in backup positions, because they really look pedestrian in the middle of the pitch today.
Right. And Ashik has been the standout performer for India also, right? If we go back 2 months, and he was the one, I think he provided 2 or 3 assists during
he crossed that ball to Sunil for the goal against Bangladesh.
I mean, I still remember that he was one of the standout performers against, I think it was against Bangladesh, right?
Yeah, Bangladesh.
Yeah. And also, this is very unlike Bengaluru. You guys must have seen this. It was probably the 25th or 30th minute. Amrinder received the ball and usne ball roll kiya to, start the game. And he literally came 15-20 yards outside the box, and not a single Bengaluru FC forward pressed him. The entire squad was in their own half trying to defend. So I don't know what the ideology was. Probably they just came here for a draw, because I've never seen Bengaluru FC sit so deep. They've been one of those squads who, they've always had a Sunil Chhetri. Let's just put it this way, that if you have a Sunil Chhetri, you can expect goals, right? And Sunil Chhetri he was nowhere to be seen today. And I don't know why they just sat back and they were just defending deep inside their own house. I don't know, very much unlike the identity of BFC that we've been seeing over the last few seasons.
That is something
I think. Go on, Siddharth.
You go ahead.
Because
I kind of feel.
Go on. No, I'm saying apart from Ashik, I think Bengaluru midfield, what I felt was another person whom they will be missing throughout this campaign. I mean, the qualities that they will be missing in that person is Dimas.
Yeah.
Like Dimas was like the Xavier Alonso for them for all these years. And today they lacked exactly that in the middle of the park. They had Suresh, they had Jayesh, and they had Ajay. All three are, to put it bluntly, defensive midfielders. Even Jayesh, for ATK Mohun Bagan, he almost played as a defensive or a box-to-box player, but he mostly is known for his rough tackling and covering every blade of grass on the pitch. So there was no real attacking intent as such today also. So I feel, Dimas, they need a player of that profile is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Dimas-like player who can pick those passes. Yeah.
This is what even I was about to say, that the creativity that they missed in the middle of the park, because the three midfielders being Indian and they were very young, like Jayesh, Suresh, and Ajay. And the fact that BFC only have three foreigners for their AFC Cup squad, Alan Costa, Musawu King, and Clayton up front. The fourth foreigner, because of the ongoing problems with Eric Partalu, they don't have it in the squad. So I think that was evidently missed. Like the midfield had no creativity. It lacked experience. It was a big game for them and it lacked experience. They were decent, but they were not good enough to make the difference for a big game. Somebody like Eric Partalu, who is like a wall in the midfield, he'll block the ball, but he's also set piece threat. He can create those long balls and pass the ball around. He was missing, and the club is having some problems with him, and there has been no official communication on that. But it was evident that the BFC midfield lacked that spark to create, and I think that is why Chetri and Udanta also looked out of the game for major of the time. Clayton had to kind of drop deep most of the times to collect the ball and distribute it to the wings. So I think it was evident that, and I think somebody like Dimas is what they are missing, as you said, Chan, because he has been their creator for the last 3 years, and I think they haven't signed his replacement. Also, there's yet to announce the next 2 foreigners out of in their squad. They've only announced 4. So I think this will be a major area they would be looking to strengthen after the AFC Cup.
Also, I just realized one more very interesting thing, which is actually astounding. So we all saw the performance that ATK Mohun Bagan put out today, but this was without even Johnny Kauko on the bench or in the squad. They haven't registered him. So you can understand the squad that they have built already. They can afford to keep Johnny Kauko, who has played in the Euros just 2 months back for Finland. They can keep him out of the squad altogether and keep him fresh for the ISL. So the 4 foreigners that they are all very good players. And most importantly, they all understand the system that Habas wants to play with the side.
And it's also in a way that they have played with Habas 1 year before. It's like for 2 seasons they have been in the squad. David Williams, Roy Krishna, even Carl McHugh. So, and it was evident with BFC. On the other hand, apart from Clayton, the other foreigners had not played. The centre back pairing is new, Alan Costa and Musawu King. I kind of felt Musawu King looked good. He looked promising. Alan Costa, on the other hand, I felt he looked shaky. Like apart from the times he took the ball from Liston in the later part of the match, but I kind of felt he was he looked shaky. So
that is being politically correct.
Yeah, for a 6'4" centre back, I looked at him. I saw his nationality. I saw Brazilian. And I see, it is ingrained, right? When you see Brazil, he will be something that, he will put everyone in his pocket, but it didn't happen really. I was rather disappointed in him, to be honest, because I think he grew into the game, but in the initial minutes, in the first 15-18 minutes, he was all over the place. He couldn't even clear the ball. He couldn't connect his tackle. I think he was the one, right, who he fouled in the initial first minute itself.
No, I think it is Sarthak who fouled, but I can understand the event you're talking about.
Yeah.
ATK Mohun Bagan had the free kick in the first minute itself, and
yes. I mean, the fact of the matter is, Alan Costa, I don't know. Probably he's just, he's another new arrival for them. Probably he might grow more in the coming weeks, but first impression, I thought not the best centre back in the ISL.
So, Anirudh, let me ask you, who was the most impressive on the pitch for you today, out of all the 22 players, plus the substitutes as well?
Honestly, I was impressed with Jayesh. If I'm honest, I thought that he looked mature. He was trying. I mean, that is what matters, right? When you're 2-0 down, and when the entire, it was. I felt BFC had kind of given up, but Jayesh was putting in the effort. Apart from that, see, I have not been to go with the usual suspects. We all know who were the kings of the game, right? Roy obviously scored proper poacher's goal he had.
Nice first.
That was the
Instinctual
typical Roy
header.
Krishna goal. The
Yeah, it's like that
typical Roy
instinct.
Krishna goal. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if I had to pick one, I would probably go for Jayesh. It's not the most, favorite choice. I mean, I'm pretty sure most of the people here didn't see this coming, but I was rather impressed with him. Siddharth, what do you think?
I think Jayesh had a lot of confidence after the goal he scored in the playoffs, I think 3 days back. And I think he had the creative responsibility, so he looked promising and he tried. But for me, I think player of the match for me was Deepak Tangri. I think it's a good debut for ATK Mohun Bagan. A new signing coming in as a defensive midfielder with Lenny Rodriguez. And he was passing the ball well. He was winning headers, breaking all the counterattacks by those tactical fouls. I think he looked promising, and they looked the defense like that double pivot there with Lenny and Deepak there. I think they didn't allow BFC midfielders to express themselves a lot, and also had let Hugo Boumous, David Williams, and Manveer do the difference. They would just distribute the ball. I remember this is one moment around the 34th or 35th minute. Lenny Rodriguez got the ball around the half line. He thought of dribbling, then he saw, okay, David Williams is free. He just passed it and he went back. He didn't even make that forward run because he knew David Williams gonna dribble past or he's gonna look for Roy Krishna. So they knew what they had to do. And I think Deepak also played really well. So I think he was my favorite performer on the pitch. What about you, Shine? What do you think was the standout player for today's match?
Yeah, I think Deepak has a very good shout because he's like the perfect Antonio Havas player. He's like he epitomizes everything he stands for, the coach. And for me, I think Deepak was very, very impressive. But even then, I think Shubhashish was also really nice today. He played very well. He was going up and down both areas of the pitch. But for my money, I would give it to. It will again be kind of a weird choice, but I really like this guy, so I'll go with him. It's Sumit Rathi. I think he hasn't played. I think he played one match in the entirety of last season, 1 or 2 matches, I think, and he came on as a substitute a few games. But the way he has handled that disappointment of being so successful in one season, then being sidelined for the entirety of the next season because there were players ahead of him in the pecking order, then coming back and making a place for himself in the starting 11 right from the get-go, I think he was immense. And you can see that he has bulked up. He has bulked up quite a lot. He's become physically bigger. He has developed his positional sense. It has gotten much better now. And I could never pinpoint a situation where he looked uncomfortable on the ball like he used to quite a few times previously. He was always very comfortable on the ball. A left-footed defender is always a plus. Ask me, I'm an Arsenal fan. Mikel Arteta.
And I think with Sumit Rathi, the fact that Sandesh Jingan moving to Croatia with Sibnik, I think this is his season to step up.
Exactly.
He will get all the opportunities. And I think Havas, the fact that they didn't, transfer him to another club and retained him so that he could be a part of the system. I think Havas is also showing a lot of trust in him. I hope he grows. I think as a country, we don't mind another Sandesh Jingan if Sumit Rathi becomes that. So it was great to see him. I think
Sandesh's move also confirms the fact that probably McHugh is not going to be playing in midfield anytime soon. I think he has the qualities to play as the central defender of the 3 at the back. So I think that is now going to be the way forward for Mohun Bagan. ATK Mohun Bagan.
And the fact that this ISL season also has the AFC rules of you can only start with 4 foreigners. So I think just because
3+1.
Yeah, it's 3+1. So I think Tiri will be one of them when he comes in. Tiri and McHugh can rotate. Sure. And I think Tiri is not a part of the squad because he's not completed his vaccination process. So I think that's one of the reasons that was reported by many media outlets. So he's not a part of the squad yet, and McHugh is coming in. But I would be eyeing to see, Johnny Kauko, Hugo Boumous, Roy Krishna, that three people, and then Tiri behind. I think they have that, it's like a pillar. You have one person who can, who's the star at every, at the attack, midfield, and defense. So,
like, as you pulled out those names one by one, me being an East Bengal fan, I was like, inside my heart, I'm crying. Like, the names on that team list, I mean, any team will be lucky to have those names on their roster. So yeah, let's end this discussion with where do we move forward from here, both for ATK Mohun Bagan and Bengaluru FC. A quick summary then. Anirudh, you can go first.
ATK Mohun Bagan, do we really need? Where do we go forward?
So do they
like a Los Galacticos? They are Indian Galacticos.
I think they need a thumping win over Mazia or Basundhara Kings. They need a thumping win to gain that confidence. I think they already have the confidence, but they need a thumping 4-0 or a 5-0 win over either of these two sides to get that belief that they can go all the way and do something which has never been done in our country. Talking about BFC, what they need to do is, who are they playing next? Are they playing against Mazia?
Basundhara.
They've already beaten them. They've already beaten them once, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, in the qualifiers, in the playoff, I think in April it was 5-0, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, so if they could replicate that performance, I think they will have a clear roadmap. What they need to do firstly, what they need to do is they need to get this loss out of the system ASAP, and they need to regroup and they need to go at it at training probably tomorrow morning, and they need to regroup and they need to just talk it out what went wrong and what they need to do to not repeat what happened today. So I think it's probably it has come in their luck. Let's just say that after a loss, they're playing against a team who they beat 5-0 earlier this year. So probably the players might feel a little motivated even after this loss that they have the upper hand, let's just say, in the next fixture, and there is still hope for them. So they need to cling on to that hope, and they need to, as I said, they need to get this loss out of their systems ASAP, and they need to regroup. So this is what I feel.
Siddharth?
Even, I kind of resonate with what Anirudh said. I think the fact that if ATK Mohun Bagan can beat Bengaluru FC so comfortably in the first match after such a long time, I think the expectations against Basundhara Kings and Mazia will be more. I know Basundhara Kings is an attacking team. They won't sit back. But I think Mohun Bagan's attack is again, it's like Roy Krishna, Hugo Boumous, David Williams, Manveer, and even Liston, who came on in the last 10 minutes. They have so much squad depth. And I think like Habas, in a way, ended the match really well when he knew the result is secured. He gave those minutes to the young players, Liston, SK Sahil. They came in. Even Vidyadanda Singh he came in and they got those minutes they needed. And the fact that next match is in 3 days. And I feel they will be very confident of going through as, the table toppers, I feel. They just need the victories against the next two clubs and they will be, like eyeing that spot in the knockout stage very easily up. So I think with ATK Mohun Bagan, the conclusion is sorted. Like the expectations are increasing and people would want to see more goals. I think with BFC, I think Marco Pezzaoli will be thinking right now, fact that BFC had played one game more than Mohun Bagan, ATK Mohun Bagan, just 3 days before. So I kind of thought that this factor will make BFC, make them more comfortable because Mohun Bagan are playing after so long and BFC had already played a match. So I thought they would be more comfortable here. But I think with them, their outcome will depend on how others play and they would try to, score those goals and get those 2 victories in the next 2 games and hope that, something goes wrong with the other 3 teams so that they are in that contention spot. I think, and they will be definitely reflect after, like, I think this match kind of sets the tone for them also in the areas they want to strengthen with the ISL coming in November. So a lot of things for both sides, where I think BSC will be self-reflecting more than ATK Mohun Bagan. What about you,
Yeah,
Sayan?
yeah. Yeah, nothing much to add about ATK Mohun Bagan, but for Bengaluru FC, the only thing I'd like to add is I feel the primary thing that they need right now is goals, because that will give the entire team confidence, and there's nothing like goals in football. It can change the whole mood around. So I feel for that they need to play Vidyasagar Singh. I am a huge fan of that guy. He was the top scorer in the I League last season. They bought him for big money, and I think he has to start the next game, because neither of Clayton Silva or Sunil Chetri have been playing as an out and out center forward for quite some time now. Clayton Silva is better down the right hand side, I feel. Chetri has been playing down the left for quite a long time, both for India and Bengaluru. I feel it's the perfect time to introduce him against Vasundhara Kings, and I feel that he might be able to make the difference between staying in the competition and crashing out in the group stages for Bengaluru. And the midfield woes, so they'll have to find an internal solution to that for the time being. What else can be done?
I
So
kind of
yeah,
feel for the
that's that.
midfield, they can also try a system where, like Clayton acts as a number 10 in a 4-2-3-1, Sunil Chetri on the left, Udant on the right, and Vidyasagar Singh as the center forward. So that, Clayton can combine with Suresh
I
or
can
Jay.
I can
4.
see Anirudh cringing at the thought of seeing Udanta again.
Or Leon Augustine, like, who's faster, I feel. So,
Yeah,
whichever.
Leon Augustine is a good young player. Yeah, they have to try out those combinations. I feel they have to dig deep into their bench strength now.
I think we'll be back again in 3 days discussing the other two games. So I think,
Yeah, it's a double header on Saturday. So yeah, all the guys who have been watching us today, thank you for joining in. We'll be back on Saturday, as Siddharth said. The first match is at 4:30 and the second is at 9:30, I believe. So it'll be a late night encounter. The second one will be up for both of them, and we look forward to having all of you with us. So yeah, thanks, guys. Great talking to you as always.